Everything you need to know: the controversial Elgin Marbles. The contentious Elgin Marbles could be returned to Athens more than 200 years after they were taken. Here is everything you need to know about the sculptures. 1. What are the Elgin Marbles? The sculptures are remnants of a 160 m long frieze that ran around the outer walls of the Parthenon temple on the Acropolis. Dedicated to Athena, goddess of wisdom. The Parthenon was built between 447 and 432 BC and is considered the crowning work of classical architecture. Much was lost in a 17th century bombardment, and about half the remaining works were removed in the early 19th century by British diplomat Lord Elgin, and given to the British Museum. 2. Why is there a controversy? The sculpture's presence in Britain has been the subject of ongoing controversy and debate which has raged for decades. Greece maintains they were taken illegally during the country's Turkish occupation and should be returned for display in Athens, which the British Museum and the government have previously rejected. In December, Pope Francis decided to send back to Greece the 3 fragments of Parthenon sculptures that the Vatican museums have held for centuries, leaving the British Museum among those declining to do so. On Wednesday, a British Museum spokesman said, "We've said publicly we're actively seeking a new Parthenon partnership with our friends in Greece and, as we enter a new year, constructive discussions are ongoing." 3. Where are they currently housed? Of the 50% of the original sculptures that survive, around half are in the British Museum and half in Athens, according to the British Museum. The 17 sculptures have been in the British Museum since 1816, apart from spending the war years safely stashed in a tube station, and the sculpture of the river god Ilissus, which was temporarily loaned to St. Petersburg State Hermitage Museum in Russia. Neil MacGregor, who was the former director of the British Museum, stepped down following controversy after he backed the move to loan a section of the display to Russia. In 2009, the Acropolis Museum was built to house the sculptures that remain in Greece alongside other treasures. 4. What has the Greek government previously said? A formal request for the permanent return of all of the Parthenon sculptures in the museum's collection to Greece was first made in 1983, and discussions have been ongoing since. According to the British Museum's website, Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis has on many occasions called for the marbles to be returned, even offering to lend some of his country's other treasures to the British Museum in exchange. In recent years, a team of London lawyers, including Amal Clooney, who is wife of Hollywood film star George Clooney, were involved in talks with the Greek government about a potential legal bid for the works. Successive Greek governments have refused to acknowledge the trustees' title to the Parthenon sculptures, the British Museum said. 5. What have the British government said about the Elgin Marbles? Ministers have long resisted calls for the classical sculptures to be returned to Greece. The British government rejected Tory peer Lord Veazey of Didcot's call for a change in the law to make it easier for UK museums to deal with restitution requests. Current legislation prevents treasures from being legally given away by the museum. Former Prime Minister Liz Truss ruled out supporting a deal to return the Elgin Marbles to Greece, despite George Osborne, chairman of the British Museum and former Tory Chancellor, saying there is a deal to be done to share the Parthenon marbles with Greece.